In the history of modern music, there are voices you recognize instantly, even if you don't know the name behind them. Before autotune, before digital effects, before the sound of hip hop had a voice of its own, there was one man who bent technology to human emotion and made a machine sing. You heard him without even realizing it. In West Coast rap classics and funk anthems, and songs that define an era. He wasn't just a frontman, he was an innovator, a producer, a florist and platform boots. And his life will rise from the Midwest gospel stages to world tours, to platinum records, and finally to one of the most tragic endings in funk history. This is the story of a man who created the talkbox revolution. The man who shaped the sound of 80s funk, and the man hip hop could never live without. The centerpiece of today's video is all about Roger Troutman. Now before we start, let's be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and push that notification bell to be sure you won't miss out on any more uploads. Now without further ado, let's cue that intro. Roger Troutman was born on November 29, 1951 in Hamilton, Ohio, but it was in Dayton where his destiny took shape. He grew up in a massive musical family, having 10 siblings. It was a household that was full of harmonies, and a church that doubled as a training ground. His mother was a gospel singer who believed music wasn't just talent, it was discipline. Troutman, a Central State University graduate, formed his first band that was named the Crusaders. Troutman Band performed in Cincinnati. He later created many additional bands with his 4 brothers, including Little Roger and the Veils and Roger and the Human Body. He and the Human Body released the song Freedom as a debut single in 1977, along with an album. They hustled relentlessly. They played in bars, community centers, and small clubs, just about anywhere that would let them plug in. But it was Roger's obsession with sound that set them apart. He began experimenting with an old guitar effect that was called the talkbox. The sound would be played through a plastic tube that he would hold in his mouth and shaping it with his lips. What came out wasn't just a sound, it was a voice, a robotic, soulful, futuristic voice that felt like the future of funk. And soon, someone important would hear this. Within 2 years, Troutman and his brothers was discovered by George Clinton, who signed the newly Christian Zapp to his Uncle Jam label in 1979. The original lineup consisted of the Troutman brothers, Roger, Larry, Lester, and Terry, along with Gregory Jackson and Bobby Glover. Zapp made a professional television debut on the first and only Funk Music Awards show. A year later, as Uncle Jam Records was forced to close, Troutman signed with Bootsy Collins under Rubber Band Music to Warner Brothers, and they released their self-titled debut album, Zapp, which yielded the song More Bounce to the Ounce. This song peaked number 2 on the Billboard Souls charts in late 1980. The debut album reached the top 20 of the Billboard 200. The talkbox intro alone changed everything. It wasn't just a hit, it was a blueprint. The album went platinum, and Zapp, they became a touring powerhouse, and Roger became the new face of funk. From 1980 to 1985, Zapp released the gold-selling albums Zapp, Zapp 2, Zapp 3, and the new Zapp For You, including the top 10 R&B singles, Be Alright, Dance Floor, I Can Make You Dance, Heartbreaker, It Doesn't Really Matter, and Computer Love. Throughout Zapp's history, around 15 musicians participated with the group, including P-Funk alumni Ray Davis. In 1993, Zapp released their biggest selling album, Zapp and Roger, All the Greatest Hits. This album went on to sell over 2 million copies. Despite all of the success that Zapp had, behind the scenes, Roger wasn't satisfied. He wanted control. Troutman's debut solo album, The Many Faces of Roger, was published in 1981. The album sold more than 1 million copies and included the smash single, So Rough, So Tough. Troutman collaborated with Parliament Funkadelic on the band's final Warner Brothers album, The Electric Spankin' of War Babies, that same year. Suddenly, Roger wasn't just a band leader, he was a star. But what made him different wasn't just his voice, it was his mind. He produced, he engineered, he wrote, arranged, and he built his own studio in Dayton, Ohio, keeping his power local instead of moving to Los Angeles. And the talk box, it became his signature. No one else sounded like him, but everyone wanted that sound. Troutman released his second solo album, titled The Saga Continues, in 1984. This album includes the hits Girl Cut It Out, and It's in the Mix. Troutman's most successful solo album was Unlimited, that was released in 1987. This album had the song I Want to Be Your Man. The song reached number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart and number 1 on the Billboard R&B charts. Along with his great career as a Zapp member and solo performer, Troutman also worked as a producer and writer for other musicians, most notably Shirley Murdoch, whose 1985 platinum debut album that included the Troutman-produced song As We Lay. He also produced for Zapp member Dale DeGroat's solo efforts. In 1991, Troutman released his final solo album titled Bridging the Gap. This album included the smash single Everybody Get Up. Around this time, he collaborated with Elvis Costello on the song The Other Side of Summer. Troutman was chosen from a pool of contenders by NBA Entertainment in 1989 to record a tribute song that was called I'm So Happy for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Troutman toured after the release of All the Greatest Hits. He was invited to appear as a guest artist on several hip-hop albums. Roger's sound became the DNA of West Coast hip-hop. His sound was in great demand as he collaborated with the likes of Snoop Dogg, Eazy-E, Kool Keith, Tech Nine, and most notably Dr. Dre and Tupac on California Love, which topped the charts of the Billboard Hot 100, selling over 2 million copies and earning a Grammy nomination for Best Rap Performance by a Duo or Group. Troutman then produced a top 10 R&B cover of A Thin Line Between Love and Hate, which was covered by Shirley Murdoch and H-Town. He also had another hit song that was titled Chocolate City that was used for the soundtrack of this film. Chocolate City, all the fellas trying to play it cool. Beyond his musical genius, Roger was also a deeply committed entrepreneur who believed in building economic power within his own community. Rather than relocating his operations to the likes of Los Angeles or New York, he decided to keep Zapp business rooted in Dayton. He expanded within the Dayton and Trotwood area, where he purchased multiple properties and invested heavily into real estate. Alongside his brothers, he bought neglected and abandoned homes, renovated them, and turned them into livable homes, both as rental properties and affordable housing for local families. These efforts didn't just beautify the struggling neighborhoods, they created jobs, stabilizing blocks that has been written off, and they kept money circulating within the community. Roger viewed ownership as a form of independence and uplift, using his success not only to build legacy in music, but to also quietly restore dignity and opportunity to the neighborhoods that helped shape them. On the morning of April 25th, 1999, Troutman was found shot and critically wounded outside his Northwest Dayton recording studio around 7 in the morning. According to doctors, he was shot several times in the torso. He passed during surgery at Good Samaritan Hospital. His brother Larry was found unalive in a car that was just a few blocks away with a single self-inflicted gunshot wound. The car matched the description of a vehicle that was leaving the scene, according to witnesses. It is strongly believed that Larry had fatally shot Roger and then himself. Roger Troutman passed away at the age of 47. The funk world was shattered. Hip-hop mourned and the legend was gone. Not only did this incident change music, but it also changed the Troutman family dynamic.
Whatever tensions existed between Roger and Larry Troutman came to a head on the morning of April 25th, 1999.
I'll never forget that day. It's like, what were you doing when 9/11 hit? You know exactly where you were. I was at home in a bed, and I got a phone call to come to the hospital that your brother's hurt.
Phone rang. I pushed an answer, and it was Shirley Murdoch on the other end. She said, Roger has been shot. I said, what?
Accident, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. It was an accident.
My brother Rufus, he finally called me, and then he asked me, was I sitting down? I said, well, yeah, I can be. And so he told me what happened. He said, well, Roger and Larry are dead, just like that.
Police found Roger Troutman in an alley behind his recording studio, bleeding. A few blocks away, Larry Troutman's car had slammed into a tree after he with a bullet from the same gun.
My best friend, my hero, my best friend, my hero, my two brothers. Oh my God, I was done, man. I was done. I was done. I was done.
My question for you all, what is your favorite song by Roger Troutman? Before I go, I want to take a second to promote my Discord. Over here, I provide a safe space for my supporters. We discuss music of all genres. You can provide me feedback on recent uploads, etc. If that interests you, then go ahead and check me out. The link is in my bio. While I have y'all here, if you would like to support the channel further, then feel free to become a member. By doing so, you help make these videos possible. I thank each and every one of you who supported me along this journey.